Hello everybody, welcome back to Buzzard-Roost. I am Buzzard. Let's fix this here a little bit. I'll adjust it whenever I redo the phone here. Anyway, wanted to cover a few things, some junkyard, thrift store, garage sale finds. I do want to cover some sanitation. I do want to show you this. Let's see if I can get you in here closer. That right there is the entire canned fruit section at the Walmart Walmart close to me. Normally that is 3 to 5 times larger of a section. It's down to one set of shelves, or one stack of shelves going up. There is a food shortage going on. I don't think they're telling people about it, for one, to avoid a panic. I think the USDA, in my view, is keeping the numbers of crops up high to keep the cost down low, so when they pay out insurance, they're paying out to the lower amount, even though they know how disastrous this growing season has been. People, get stocked up on your food. That should be your number one priority right now, is stock up on as much as you can, especially what you eat. If you don't eat a lot of rice, still stock up on a lot of rice. Get that taken care of. Get your resupply taken care of, which would be your garden stuff, your livestock. Make sure you have a way to get plenty of water. Most of you already got the means to protect your family and friends and your possessions. Just get started, and get started with food. Now, my thrift store, junkyard, garage sale finds. This here is a Universal 333 meat chopper. It's a little rusty on the inside, so I need to do some research, find out how to get this coating back on it and get rid of the rust. These here, picked them up, $5 a piece. They was rusted shut. They both had bits in them. I need to get some bits. I've got this part broken loose, but I don't have the ratcheting part broke loose yet. $3. Water bath canner with the rack inside. I've already got 2 or 3 of them already out in the shed right now. I went in and picked that up because, one, you can't have too many of them. If you're going to have a large group of people, that would be pretty good for cooking beans and rice and your bulk items in that you got to cook up. So that's it on my garage sale and thrift store finds. So let's get into the sanitation. I want to do some sanitation, or take some deals on sanitation. All your white buckets that you've been putting your long-term food storage in are going to come in handy for a multitude of things. Hauling water, bathrooms. You can buy seats for these 5-gallon buckets here. It's a toilet seat that fits on it, which is fine if that's what you want to do. My option is, I've still got to find one, but a lot of times in garage sale and estate sales, or just sometimes you can see them on the side of the road on garbage day, is the ones that kind of look like a walker, but they got a toilet seat on them. It's designed to be up higher so it's easier to get on and off the pot. That would be ideal for those buckets. what you're going to need if you're doing the buckets is you're going to need wood ash, you're going to need sawdust, wood ash, sawdust, or compost, dirt, anything that when you're done doing your business, you can sprinkle a handful of it over it. Helps keep the odor down, keeps the flies and the nasties out of it from getting in it, and then transmitting it everywhere else in your house. Oh, sorry about that. I've been wanting to cough this whole time. I just got back from the doctor's today. Found out I've got an infection in both ears, an infection in my throat, and an upper respiratory infection. Need to dose up on my silver bad. Anyway, back to this. You're going to have to, whenever your buckets get full, you got to find a place for it. My suggestion, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to have a pile out away from the house that's going to be my humanure compost. And every once in a while I'll go out and spread some wood ashes on it to keep the smell and the flies and all that down. Now if you're on a septic system and you have access to abundant water, maybe a pond across the road or something, that you could flush your stools with, that would be really good. I would use it more in the wintertime, the indoor, and try to use outdoor during the summer. Even with the buckets, you could do outdoor with the buckets also. Or dig a hole. Make sure it's away from your water source. You don't want to contaminate it. Another thing, I was going to say there's going to be two things that's going to be a no-no on it. One of them is no toilet paper in it. And that doesn't mean you can't use toilet paper. But I'd have a little brown sack. You could use Walmart sack, I guess. But a brown paper sack, something that you can fold the top and kind of seal it off until someone else needs to use it. Put all the toilet paper, wipes, stuff like that in it. Do a rotational pickup. Everyone gets a turn at it. One day a week. Go around at the end of the day, collect them up, take them outside, and burn them. Because a lot of toilet paper and wipes and stuff do not break down real well in a septic system. And by having that stuff in your septic system, you're going to overload your septic system because it's not breaking it down like it's supposed to. Hygiene, and this will also cover bleach, Sanitabs, bleach in a plastic jug, 1 gallon jug, has, I believe, about a 6-month lifespan on it, shelf life. I like buying pool shock at the end of the season, of pool season. You can usually pick it up pretty cheap. I'll take that, put it in a food saver bag, a vacuum bag, and vacuum seal it, and that keeps the oxygen and moisture away from it so you don't start getting a reaction. The pool shock should last you a lot longer. I don't know if it's indefinite, but I've had some that's been pretty old that I've opened up and is still pretty stout. Sanitabs. They're usually really inexpensive. A lot of restaurants use them as a second rinse tub. You'll wash your dishes, you'll rinse them, and then you'll rinse them in the Sanitab. Excuse me. The Sanitab is 1 tablet per gallon of water. And it kills a bunch of stuff. And I'm sure you could, and you just let it air dry on it. So there's no harmful effects to people. And I'm sure it would work good on hard surfaces also. You need to keep your hard surfaces wiped down and clean. Tables, counters, doorknobs. If you're lucky enough to have lights in the situation, light switches, I'd still wipe them down, because even when the power's out, I walk in the room, I flip the light, even though it don't work. You need stuff like toothpaste, soap, washcloths, sponges, some totes, 10 to 20 gallon tote. I mean, you could go a little bigger if you wanted. You need hygiene products for the ladies. Ladies, I would kind of leave it to you, because you know how much you need and what you need. Like I said, toothpaste, toothbrushes, oral hygiene is very important. Keep your gums healthy, your teeth healthy. You're going to need soap and washcloths. Now, the kids and I lived in a fifth wheel out at the lake for about 2 months. So they got really good at the sponge bath thing. I would take 2 totes. I'd put soapy water and a washcloth in one, and washcloth and clear water in the other. And they would take turns every day. Every day they done this. And I started with my oldest. The first day, he was the first one, and it went in order of the kids. The next day, the oldest that I was raising at the time would take hers, and then her on down, and then the oldest was last. And I rotated them that way. And they got really good. You sponge it, soap up on one, and wipe everything off and down and through and get clean. And then you step over in the other tub and basically repeat the same process, but with just clear water. On washing hair, use 2 5-gallon buckets, one with soapy water and one with clear water. Same deal, same rotation on washing hair. Another thing we done for hair was a dry shampoo. Now, I bought the first container of dry shampoo, which was not cheap, so got it online. And basically, these 2 kinds, one for light hair and one for dark hair. They all got the same ingredients, with the exception of one. For the dark hair, you put cocoa powder in. Yeah, for dark hair, cocoa powder. It was more tedious on trying to get it all brushed out, but it worked. It got all the oil and stuff out of their hair. Anyway, so that pretty much covers on sanitation. You have to have water, and you have to have plenty of water, even for sanitation. So let's talk a little bit about bugging out. If bugging out is your first option, there are better options. Now, my bugging out is not too far, and I think I could do it without any problem. So people that are coming where I'm at now, good possibility if I have any heads up, there ain't going to be nothing here for them to even get. If there's no heads up and it's really hairy situation, there might be something here to get if the reason I'm leaving is don't get it first. Anyway, bugging out, get you some books. I've got 4 books on wild edibles, and then I got 2 pocket-sized books that go into my bags for wild edibles. Your better option, even if your bug out is your first option, is you got to have a place to go. Either find a group or a friend or family that lives out away from the population. And don't go there to freeload. You got to have some blood, sweat, and tears in it if you want to come to where I'm at. Let's just do a hypothetical. Let's say Charles comes over. Okay, I've got my wife, my son, and I. We don't have no place to go, but we want to come to your place. We know you're prepared, and I think I'd be an asset to you You know, I've got some military training. I've got some medical training. You know, rattles off a few things that he's good at. Okay, the first thing I want to tell you, food. Get stocked up on food. And you need to have some, if not most, if not all, at the location. And that's your first priority. Get that done. Okay, here I'm going to get in some rabbits. So I've got to build some rabbit hutches. Okay, so I go to Charles and I say, hey, Monday I'm going to start working on, or Saturday I'm going to start working on some rabbit hutches. Can you come over and give me a hand? You know, he shows up and gives me a hand. He's starting to get invested. Okay, shift don't happen this winter. Getting kind of tight, but it don't happen yet. You know, the food shortage ain't full blown yet. People still got false hopes. And it's getting closer to spring. I call up Charlie or Charles, say, hey, I want to put in a bigger garden this year. If you come over and give me a hand and help maintain it, we'll split everything. Let's grow. We can preserve some. You'll have some for fresh eating. You should even have enough if you wanted to sell some, you could sell them. So he comes over and does it. He's invested now. He's got his food. And most of it, if not all of it's already at location. He's got his blood, sweat, and tears into the hutch, the garden, maybe cutting an old standing dead timber and helping splitting it up. Be more than welcome. As a matter of fact, he'd have a place. So don't go pull one of these. Oh yeah, things. If shit hits the fan, I'm gonna come to your place. Well, it may not work out like you want unless you're invested. So find you a group, a friend, a family that lives out away from the population. Another option is these penny pinchers and thrifty nickels, these free sales deal that you see at all the convenience stores and gas stations and stuff like that. Sometimes there's people in there that had bought, say, a 100-acre plot, and they go in and they divide it up into 5 and 10 acre sections. And then they sell these 5 and 10 acre sections. Of course, the further back they are is usually the cheaper they are. For what 5 acres would cost you up front by the road, you can get 10 or 20 acres in the back. And a lot of times they're for like $99 down and $99 a month. So if you could swing, say, the $100, do your research on these people. I'm sure it's not their first rodeo. I'm sure there's good and bad out there. And with the internet the way it is, there's a good possibility you're going to find out before you ever actually deal with them. But do that. And say 5 years down the road, say, you know, things hit the fan, you got a place to go. Now on that place, my opinion would be to get you one of these little tool sheds, garden shed, or whatever you want to call it. Throw in a little extra money for insulation, and you could live in it. It'd be like a tiny home. Be like a tiny home, but it give you shelter. That would be what I think would be a really good option. But like I said, if you're bugging out and you don't have no place to go, someone's going to find your stuff because you'll become a statistic. Anyway, this is almost 20 minutes. As a matter of fact, it is 20 minutes. One of my longest videos, I think. Anyway, I'll go ahead and cut it off there. If you have any ideals, something I missed on what I talked about, put them down in the comments. I do read the comments, and a lot of them I do respond to. For everyone that's new to my channel, thank you. I hope you get some information, or valuable information. For everyone that has been here, like Miss Wes S. from day one, I appreciate you guys a lot. Anyway, almost to 1,000. When I do hit 1,000, I'm going to try to figure out how to do a live stream. I've never done a live stream, so it may be a major cluster, you know what, but I'm going to try to do one. Anyway, remember, only dead fish follow the flow of the stream. Don't be a dead fish. This is Buzzard. See ya.